Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Today's webinar will be about how to make 90s anime style animation in Clip Studio Paint and it will be presented by Kevin Farías. Before we begin the webinar, there are some housekeeping items that we'd like to go through. The webinar will be approximately 1 hour long. All attendees will be muted. Please use the Q&A panel, there will be a Q&A session during the last 15 minutes of the webinars, and you can send your questions using the questions panel. Also, if you want to comment, send any type of message, use the question panel also. The chat, we use it for sharing information. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, not all the questions will be answered. The webinar will be recorded and the recording will be shared on social media and will be sent via email to all registrants and attendees. The panelists for this webinar are Mario Quiñones, myself, and Kevin Farías. For those of you who connect with us for the very first time or have never heard about Clip Studio Paint, Clip Studio Paint is your all-in-one solution for stunning, ready-to-publish illustrations, comics, manga, and animations. Learn more at clipstudio.net/n and graphicsly.com. Also, we encourage you to share your Instagram stories using hashtag webinar at kevinfm_art, at graphicsly, at welcome, and at clipstudio official. We'll be sharing your stories if you tag us. Kevin Farías is a Chilean 2D animator. Since his childhood, he's been passionate about the magic world of animation, especially 90s retro anime. Kevin is part of the Clip Studio Paint expert group invited directly by the Clip Studio Paint team and also certified in Toon Boom Harmony, where he has worked as an instructor on their online animation training camp. Kevin is currently living in Japan, where he's studying animation to keep improving his skills. Simultaneously, he works as a freelancer making animations for clients all over the world. As a content creator on YouTube and Instagram, you can find plenty of videos where Kevin will teach you how to create your own animations through tutorials or short videos. On his website, you can also find online courses at kevinfarias.com. And with that, I will leave you with Kevin and his presentation, how to make 90s anime style animation in Clip Studio Paint. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mario. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin, and in this webinar, I will teach you how to make animation in Clip Studio Paint in 90 anime style. So, we will start. This is the animation I will teach you in this webinar. So, looks simple and complicated. It's difficult for explain, but it's not hard. Believe me, okay? So, we will make this animation. So, um, my English is not perfect. Sorry for that. My real language is Spanish, and now I'm studying Japanese here in Japan. So you can imagine how works my my brain every day. But I will. I'm sure you can understand everything if you look step by step all the process I will teach you. Okay. So this is the animation we will learn in this webinar. So the first step, of course, is create a new project. So we can go to File, New, and of course, we need select the last option, the animation project. In file name, we can put whatever name. In my case, I will put this name. And the size of the project, I recommend you this one. You have more options here. For example, this one is perfect. In my case, the resolution, I always change that. But sometimes I have the mistake. I made very big projects with the resolution. It's not necessary. For example, this resolution is perfect, 192, okay? And the other option is very useful for enable is animation frame settings. It's very useful and have more space here because the the blue line is the camera. Okay, so in this area, it's very important to the frame rate 24 and playback time 72. Okay, so and another thing, sorry if I take more time for say the numbers in English because sometimes I confuse with the Japanese and English, so sorry for that again. Okay, so we will have everything and okay. So this is the animation project. I recommend you delete the animation folder that we have for default. Okay, in the layer panel, we can delete the animation folder. And of course, we will save this project with this icon or in File, Save or Save As with the same name. Okay, and we can save the project in on the folder. Okay. In this case, I recommend you create a new raster layer with the name Sketch, and you can create your own sketch here. This is the most important. Start with a drawing. In this case, I recommend you this style for create the animation that we will learn in this webinar. This is the drawing. If you can see, this drawing is very simple. It's a gear on the car. The modelment will be a little the hair, the big eyes, and another thing if you want the lights, for example, and of course the background. Okay, so we can start with the animation process. We can start with the hair animation. It's the most difficult, but it's not difficult. So I will show you. Okay, so the first step. For example, here I have two layers, the colors of the gear. I will disable because I don't need that now. And the sketch layer, we can use this very useful tool, change layer color, and we can play with the opacity, maybe in 60 is okay. And now we will start with animation, the most fun in this webinar. So we will create a new animation folder with the name here, animation, sketch. Sorry, but I recommend you put names for everything for your workflow. Okay, so here the most simple is create a new animation cell, and in this case, we our animation we we will end in 72 frames, but in this case, I recommend you put in until 12. Okay, for the hair animation. Okay, after we will return to the 72 frames. Okay, so the first step is make the first frame of the hair animation. I recommend you use the sketch tool. The first option, pencil, is perfect. So we will start. We will copy the same hair. Okay. If you need more space, remember in Clip Studio we can disable the panels and we have more space here. Okay, so we will start very simple, very fast. In this case, not like my tutorial videos, you can see the process very fast, but here you will see the real time of my workflow. Okay, so I repeat you again, we will copy the same here of the sketch because this is the first frame of the animation. We don't need make this with many details because after we will make the clean process and the color process. So this is very simple. in this way. For example, we have this area and I will delete this line, for example, and I will make the shadow 2. For example, in this way, this shadow 2, this here is very important for the movement, and this area 2. Okay, so we have the first frame of the hair. We enable again the timeline and the layer panel. So the next step is create a new layer. For example, we will make the new layer and this animation every so in the frame 7. Okay, in the frame 7 we will create a new animation cell. If you want, you can change the name for 7. And here is very important, enable onion skin tool. Okay, so here is very simple. In this case, for my Mac in iPad, I have this option. It's most fast for see the scene in on my screen. So here is very simple. Don't complicate with this. We don't need the the hair movement very sweet now. It's not necessary. For example, I will make this with this hair. I will maintain this line here like this. And with this hair, we can make the movement a little of this way. And with the other hair, we make the same. For example, of this way. Okay, for this area, we will make the opposite. Why? For example, this this area, the movement is for there, but this area, the movement will be for there. Okay, so we will make this of this way. We can make this line, and here we will make the movement of this way. And here it's no inside of the camera, so it's not necessary. And in the back, a little movement on this way. And the shadow too. For example, with this shadow too, and with this here, we made the same, a little movement. And the shadow too. Okay, we have the second drawing of the animation. We can disable the onion scheme, and we have that for the moment. So the next step is on the frame 4, create a new animation set. You can change the name. And of course, in this moment, it's very important, enable the onion skin tool. And we will make the in-between of this simple animation. So the same process. I'm making this animation very fast because if you know the animation process take many hours, so maybe it's not enough 1 hour for uh, teach all the process, but I will make the possible, okay? So we make the in between. So this process is a little simple. Depend of your character, of course. If your character have many details, this process will take more time. Like my case, maybe. So we make the in between of this way. Okay, we have it. So now in the back, we make the in between, for example, of this way. Okay, and for finish the hair animation, we made this area. Okay, so very fast, very simple. We have the hair animation, but we need something very important because this animation will be a loop. So, for example, in the frame 10, we will enable this option, assign cell to frame. So we need select the drawing 4. Okay, so we have it the hair animation. If we press play, we have this simple hair animation. Maybe now you can see that, oh, Kevin is simple animation, don't works, but when we combine all the movement of the animation, this hair movement will be uh, will will be good. So relax with that. So we have that animation. So we need make the blink animation. But I'm thinking for the time, maybe we can make directly the cleanup process because we have the drawing there. Okay, so the next step is make the cleanup process. So we have the animation, the most important. Here I will change the color with this option for blue because it's the sketch. We can disable the hair animation for the moment because now we will focus in the blink eyes. Okay, so I will teach you a very useful tool in Clip Studio. So we will create a new animation folder, the name eyes, and here we will make something different because before we create the frames with the animation cell tool, but here we will create in the layer panel inside of the animation folder, we'll create a new layer folder. So we press, and now you can see the drawing here. Inside of this folder, we will create the layers, the same layers that always, for example, raster, color, and shading, and two vector layers, shading line, and line. And here I recommend you use the pen tool. The pen tool, I recommend you Real G Pen. I really like that. And here it's very important, enable the stabilization. For example, for default, maybe in 4 or 6, but in my case, I prefer 100. Okay? So this is the moment for make the line just uh, of the eyes. Okay? So this is the moment for make the cleanup process of the eyes animation. Okay, so we will make the line process of the eyes, the first layer in the frame one. We will make exactly the same drawing of this wave. Okay, so this area 2 of this wave. Some people don't like the embedilla process. For me, I don't know. Um, for me, it's my relaxed time. I don't know, it's strange, but take time. It's true that. So we have the first eye. We have this on this, the other eye, the details, typical of the 90s style. And we have it, the first, the first drawing. Okay, so the next drawing, in this case, we have the animation until the frame 12. So in this case, before to continue, we will edit the animation. For example, we will return to the hair animation until the 12th frame, but here with the right button over the animation, copy, and the next frame, paste. So now we will duplicate the animation. Okay, so now the hair animation is in on the animation. Okay, so for the blink eyes, we can go for the frame 25 and we will create a new animation cell. And this is very important. Look, um, in this, in the frame one, I create many layers with names, right? And if I create a new animation cell, create the, the same folder with the same layers, including the name. So I really love that of Clip Studio Paint. So in this case, we can change the name. And here, of course, we can enable the onion skin tool. And here we will make the second drawing of the animation. In this case, for example, in my country, I learned that the second drawing of the blink eyes animation is this one. Please don't forget, select the line layer. And in Chile, I learned this way of the blink eyes. But in Japan, I learned the closed eyes, the next drawing. I prefer this style. Okay, so we will follow the Japanese style. So in this case, we will make this kind of eyes in this area like this, more curve here. Okay, so this line is very important. And for the moment, we will copy this line. And here we will make the same, but after we will change this. Okay, so for the other eyes, we make the same. for example. Okay, and this is very important. We will move these lines more down, maybe two times, one, two. Okay, not so much, but we need to create a space between the two lines. Okay, so we have this drawing. So the next drawing in the frame 29, yes, 29. We create a new animation cells. We can change the name. We select the line layer and we will make the other eyes. But here is very important, put again in the timeline the first drawing. So here, for example, one, two, three. In the frame 52, we will enable assign cell to frame. We select the drawing one because we need make a in between. Okay, so now is the moment for make the in between of the bleed eyes animation. So around here, yes. Here depend of the style of your character. Okay, so we have this. Here we can make the in between like this. Here we can make this line and we can make the in between here. It's very useful. Okay, so the next lines here around here. Oh, I forgot this area. For example, okay, so the other line of this way, in between here. We follow the lines of the other drawings. So we have, I will add these lines too, and for the first frame and the second one too, like this. Okay, so we have the animation. Look, it's very simple, but looks great. Very simple. If we add the hair animation, yes, now it looks better, right? Okay, so the next step for the time, because please don't forget save. The next step is the magic of the webinar because maybe we don't have time for show you all the process, but I won't show you how to paint in Clip Studio. So maybe we can use the eyes blink animation for show that. So in this case, it's very simple. We can, in my case, I create the color palette here. So with this tool, we can select the colors. Please don't forget enable bit displayed color. Okay. So here it's very simple. Um, I will disable the sketch layer for the moment. And for example, here in the color layer, the raster layer, we can paint with the fill tool. And here is very important is in subtool, refer only to editing layers. Okay. So here area scaling 10 and we can paint of this way. example, this color is black, and the white area, I create this color because sometimes you can confuse the white color with the background color. So this is very useful. And if you can paint with the fill tool, you can paint with the pen tool of this way. For example, in that area, I need paint with the green color. We can select the color and paint. Maybe you can't notice the white color for the screen resolution, but I'm painting this area. I will try to make this very fast because for the time, but this is the process of the color. Okay, and we need repeat the same with the other drawing. For example, for the shadows, the same. We choose the color, and we can add the shading this way. I don't know, but make animation is very funny. Is my opinion. Okay, so we made the shadow here, following the line. For example, and we need repeat the process with the other eyes. I will make because don't take many time. So color layer, mm, we can choose the color, fill tool, the green color, the black color of this way. Okay, so please don't forget the shading. So we made the same around this area, the other shadow. So of this way. Okay, so very fast for the time, but we have the blink eyes animation. So we can enable the other layers, and if we press play, we have for the moment this animation. Looks simple, but looks nice. Okay, so the next step is the color of the animation. Okay, for the color process is the same process that the blink animation, the blink eyes animation, sorry. For example, in the character, we have here the eyes. If we can check the eyes is the same with the same layers. So in this case, for example, with the body, we made the same. And for example, with the hair animation, we made this for separate. Look, for example, hair back, It's exactly the same animation. The only difference, I put the over layer over the character layer. Okay, so this is the only difference. So we have the animation for the moment, and I add the car. And now I will teach you guys something very cool in Clip Studio Paint. Okay, so I will disable the sketch. I will disable the color layer because I don't need that. I don't need that, sorry. And we will go for the part of the animations. So we will animate the background, the most important, because for the moment we have this. Looks simple, but cool, right? Okay, so now we will animate the background. So the first step is create a new layer folder. The name, city, background, like you want, okay? So in the materials of Clip Studio Paint, we have one background very cool, this one, night sky. We can take, put on the scene, and for example, this background is very cool. For example, the city, I will put more visible here. And for example, it's very cool this background because if you edit the size, the city never finish. I really love that. Okay, so this size I think is okay. Then we will make this, sorry, we will animate this background. For example, we have this background we will put inside of the city folder. And here we will make something very, very cool. For example, we need animate this background, but we will animate the folder. Okay, so the first step is enable. In this case, you can see is this tool. Enable keyframes on this layer. Okay, so we enable the keyframes, and for example, we will create a keyframe with this option, add keyframe. Okay, and the last keyframe, of course, in the frame 72, we create a new keyframe. And now we can move the background of this way. I will move more because the car is fast, for example. But here, the most important is a loop, right? This animation is a loop animation. So we can try to put the same building in the same position. So if we check, we need more movement. With your keyboard, you can move that. We are near, and it's that building. Okay, so around here is a little less like this around. Yes. Okay, but here we need extend a little this animation. So we move the keyframe, and now we can check the animation with play tool. Okay, so we will press play. Okay, the background had movement, but it's not color, right? But now we will edit that. For example, in the timeline, we have this option, Graph Editor. If you work in 3D software, you know this, or you know what kind of tool is the Graph Editor. So, for example, in position in X axis, we can edit of this way, we need create a red line like this. Okay, we will return to the timeline. And now the background is perfect, very perfect. You can see where is the cap, right? So I really love that. And for finish, if you want add more details, for example, in my case, I add the light for the gear. Look, we will see frame by frame like this. Looks nice, right? So you can see here the animation, line drawings. Okay, so if we press play, we have the animation. Of course, in 1 hour, I can't show you step by step all the process, but it's all the same. So we animate in part this animation, and we need add the color, the lines in every part of the animation. In this case, in every part of the year. Because I repeat you again, if you if we see, for example, all is in different layers, right? So this is the magic of the animation. So I really like this animation because it's simple and you can use for many projects. For example, it's very popular the lofi animation style with a quiet music for relax, for when you need a study or simply you need a relax. So you can put these animations. You can find many animation of these styles in YouTube for relax or for study, and it's very cool. And if you can create your own animations in this style, it's very cool. It's very cool, believe me. Okay, so this is the animation of this webinar. For the time I repeat you, I can show you step by step all the process because this animation take more time. So now the next is continue with the questions. But before of the answer of your questions, we need export animation. I almost forgot that. I almost forget that, sorry. So it's very simple. We need go to File, Export Animation. We have many options like GIF or movie. In this case, I will export like movie. We can put a name. We have two formats. Okay. We check everything is okay. So, okay, we need wait. And we save our animation on the folder. Okay, we are ready with the animation. So now I will now reply some of your questions directly. Okay, so the first question is, who are your artistic or animation references? Of course, the anime styles. So, but the anime styles, the anime style, sorry, of the 90 years. So I really love that animation, everything, all the animation of that time. And some about some artistic, no, it's just the anime of that time. The second question is, what is your favorite clip studio tool? It's hard for answer because I really love all the all the tools of Clip Studio. But if you ask me, um, my first answer in my mind is the device version, the iPad version. It's funny, but it's no tool or tool, I don't know. But I really love that because in my past, I had a computer, I have a pen display tablet, and many cables. You need energy. So, for example, with the iPad, I have everything in one screen. So I really love that. I don't need cables. I don't need nothing. I can work in animation in my bed, in a coffee shop with my friends, in the school. So I really love that. So I think this is my favorite tool. But if we talk about tool inside of the software or in the interface, is the animation tool, I think, but the 3D models too. So no, sorry, but I have many favorite tools. Okay, so the next question is there an animation process you like the most? I think is the sketch process. The sketch process, sorry, is my favorite animation process because the cleanup process is fun but take many time. You need uh, be focused. So, for example, with the sketch process, you are more free. So, I think this is the reason because it's my favorite animation process. So the next question is, do you think Clip Studio is suitable for animation? Sorry if I made bad pronunciation about that word. Suitable is wrong. Was wrong, right? Maybe it was wrong. But I understand the question. So I think yes. Because in my case, I'm freelancer and only use Clip Studio for my animation project. So yes, it's perfect for made animation. It's enough. After, if you want, you can add more effects with another softwares. But Clip, guys, believe me, Clip Studio have everything. Like uh, I showed you in this webinar. So you have everything for make animations. And for example, now I am studying animation here in Japan. The schools they offer you, yeah, you will learn Clip Studio, but they teach you the animation software that the animation studio here they use. I forgot the name. Retas Studio. So they teach you that software, but they teach you Clip Studio Paint too. So in the animation studio here in Japan, you need they use Clip Studio too. So is perfect for make animation. So please learn Clip Studio for make your projects. And the last question is any advice or tip to someone who is starting in animation? Oh, it's hard because I'm not very good for good advices, but I think drawing drawing practice the human body poses because if you learn that if you can draw the human body in many perspectives and many angles you can make animation. After the animation process will be easy for you. The animation, some people think, yeah, it's easy because it's just draw. It's like a game. No, believe me, no. You need to study so much. You need learn how to draw the human body. The human body is very hard. For example, the hands is very hard. You know, right? It's very hard. So it's very hard. Sorry. So the hair, the clothes. If you draw the background, you need the perspective. Also, is I think my advice is draw, draw, draw. This is my advice. And one tip for learn or for starting, one tip is watch tutorials. I don't know, and or yeah, watch tutorials or maybe if you love the anime, you can see because they always share the animation process of the anime. So I recommend you see that videos, the animation process of the famous anime. This is very inspirational. Yeah, yeah, inspirational. I don't know if the correct word, but yeah, if you can see the making of the animations, this is very useful for you. So yeah, this is the my answers for your question, guys. Thank you for your questions. Then again, thank you so much for joining us in this webinar. I repeat, you guys, sorry for my no perfect English. And yes, so we are ready. Thanks, Mario, and thanks everyone who joined us in this webinar.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for this amazing webinar. We all loved it. Thank you so much, everybody who shared their thoughts, who thanked Kevin for this amazing webinar. There were people from, let me check, Mexico, Abel, England, Levy, Canada, JF, Germany, Fenya, Jamaica, Shamrik, who else? India, Roshak, Ghana, Johnny, etc., etc. So thank all of you who joined us live. And before we go, one last bit of information. Many of you asked if this webinar has been recorded. Yes, it's been recorded and we'll be sharing on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe to Clip Studio Paint channel, but also Graphicsly. So if you subscribe, you'll receive a notification once the video is available to watch. If you want to learn more about Clip Studio Paint, visit our website, clipstudio.net/and graphicsly.com. Also, in our website Graphicsly, there's a full animation course if you're really interested in animating with Clip Studio. It's a beginner to advanced animation course by Manuel Curiel. Please check it. And also, if you want to check free webinars on our YouTube channel playlist on Graphicsly, you will find also like 3 or 4 webinars specifically about animation. So don't forget to check that. Don't forget to follow Kevin and his projects at kevinfarias.com on his website, but also on social media, Instagram, kevinfm_art. So with that, thank you so much, everybody who joined us live, everybody who's watching the recording. So stay tuned and for more tutorials, promotions, and webinars of Clips to the Paint. So hope to see you next time. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you.